Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about Ubisoft again and how they rumored to have spent over $500 million on the quadruple A massive failure called Skull and Bones. Let's cue the music and we'll talk about this. Alright, so there's a rumor that claims Ubisoft allegedly spent between $650 and $850 million on its, and I use this quote, quadruple A Skull and Bones game. Now, if you remember when this game was released, that's what they were calling it, was a quadruple A, the world's first quadruple A game. And this game failed miserably. It had a very long development time. It had a very storied development time. It's supposed to be a spin-off kind of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which had the pirate theme to it and the naval combat and all that. And it spent a lot of time in development. The Singapore government actually gave money towards the game. I guess it was the Singapore Ubisoft studio that worked on it predominantly. So yeah, the government invested in it, which is why the game actually came out. I think. I would say, if you have a government spending money, on you, you're gonna definitely want to get that game out. Otherwise, who knows what can happen, right? They close down your studio. Who knows? So anyway, yeah, that's a lot of money, man. $650 to $850 million on a game that just failed. It failed. Now, I had this game on my radar. I really was interested in this game. The thought of naval combat was cool. The design of the ships and the customization and all that looked pretty wild, and all that looked like it could be a lot of fun, right? As you can have different types of ships, some that are built for speed, some that are built to be tanky, and so forth and so on. You could vary the types of defenses, shields, and weapons you had on these things and customize them to suit your style of play. And you could play multiplayer, and you could play online with other players. You could play PvP, PvE. I thought it'd be fun to get together with a couple of my boys, go out there and wreak havoc on some servers, just get together, go out there and, have somebody have a little bait ship, so to speak, and attract some attention, and then let some guys attack them, and then boom, we move in and just shred them. So I was planning on getting the game, and I ordered it once and got refunded. Ordered it a second time, got refunded again, and at that point I was like, you know what, nope, we're done. And not because it got delayed so much as it got delayed, but Ubisoft wasn't saying anything about it, like, well, we've delayed this to add a feature to the game that people wanted, because there was a lot to the game that wasn't there that people wanted. It was basically naval combat, and if you took over and you beat a ship and you boarded the ship, it just gave you this random cutscene, and I guess it was probably the same cutscene every single time, where you go on and you loot the ship. And how frustrating and aggravating and redundant would that be after a while? If there's a way to skip through it, everybody's skipping through it after the first 2 times watching it. They're like, okay, whatever. Let me get back to fighting. Whereas it would have been great to be able to board a ship and get on there and go into third person or first person, whatever, and kill the pirates on there and loot the ship and all that. That would have been awesome. Exploration was another thing that was limited to the ocean. You couldn't go onto different islands and explore, from my understanding. There were a couple spots you could go, but I think they were mainly like hubs, towns, and stuff like that. I saw video of the, people getting supplies, getting coconuts, I think it was, and they're just in the ship, and you're hitting a button to get coconuts onto your ship. I don't know, it was weird. It just, yeah. So there was a lot that was missing from the game that should have been in there, could have been there, could have made it great. And it really fell short. And upon release, the game failed miserably. I think it's already on sale. We're not even a year into it yet, and it's already on sale for pretty cheap. It's heavily discounted now. Heck, it might even be free if you've got the Ubisoft Plus at this point. Don't quote me on that. I'm just guessing. Maybe not. Well, no, it probably is, actually, because they're giving away games day one for free on there. So yeah, I'm sure it is free on there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing comes across on PS Plus early next year, like January, February of next year, as a freebie game. So anyway, according to YouTuber Endymion and his sources within Ubisoft, the project that ruined Ubisoft and put them in the dire financial position they are after Star Wars Outlaws soft sales in the second quarter is Skull and Bones, which he claims cost between $650 million and $850 million. That's so much money. I don't understand how you can invest that much money in a game. Are these guys just corrupt and they're laundering money and they're just throwing it away? Is it kickbacks to the government that were there? I don't trust. There's very few things I trust in the world. The thing I trust least of all is a government. I wouldn't be surprised if the government says, here, we're going to invest X amount of money into you, but whoever made the deal, brokered the deal, the president, whatever, prime minister, whoever it is, I don't know what they're structured like over there. But, but you give me back this amount to line my pockets, okay? This is how governments work. They're corrupt. Demian shared, I was also told that the project that ruined Ubisoft was not actually Outlaws or Shadows, it was actually Skull and Bones. My sources told me they had seen multiple different versions of the game that were each completely different over the years. They said that they were told the budget that was spent on Skull and Bones ranged somewhere between $650 to $850 million over 10 years. Well, if you stretch that over 10 years and you factor in multiple versions of the game, like if they've had to go back to and start it over from scratch a few times, yeah, I could see that, on average, it would be $65 to $85 million a year spent on this, which is still a fortune for a game that just so underperformed. It was absolutely terrible. This one kind of hurt. I really wanted this to be a win. Not because I like Ubisoft or anything like that, but because I like pirates, and I love pirates, and I wanted to be a pirate and go out there and do pirate stuff, And the fact that it was so limited was just lame. Anyway, and that Skull and Bones failed so badly for Ubisoft, it was the actual reason why they're dying the way they are, he said. It's not actually Outlaws or Shadows, if you can believe it, so they sunk a legendary amount of resources into that game, and it clearly did not work out for them at all. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot famously described, and here he is again, Skull and Bones as a quadruple-A game, and attempted to justify the game's price tag of $70 during the company's third quarter sales call for the fiscal year 2024 back in February, about a week before the game's release. This is a micro-transaction heavy game, if I remember correctly. There's a lot of skins and stuff you can get for your ships and your character and all that. So, yeah, the $70. If this was a free-to-play, again, and this is kind of like a live service type game too. I think the single-player part of it is pretty weak. I don't think there's much of a campaign or anything like that, or any reason to play it single player. If it had a strong single player campaign, I could see justifying the $70, and that the multiplayer was something that was an added bonus. That would be great. If you could go in throughout the campaign and jump into people's games if they invited you and stuff like that to help out with certain missions, that would be cool. PvE style or whatever. Or if you could raid somebody's game. PvP style, that would be kind of cool too if you allowed it. I remember Dying Light allowed that, where you could raid somebody's game as one of the zombies late at night, one of the super zombies. What were they called again? Anyway, yeah. He was asked by one investor, could you maybe unpack for us the decision to price it at $70? You've certainly emphasized that it's designed for a lot of live services. What drove the decision to make the game pay to play when that could presumably limit the size of the player base and thereby PRI in the game? And Guillemot responded, you'll see that Skull and Bones is a fully fledged game. You can see it on the market today. It's a very big game. And we feel that people will really see how vast and complete that game is. It's really full AAA, quadruple A game that will deliver in the long run. He said absolutely nothing there. Absolutely nothing. I hate that kind of talk. It's like somebody will give you that answer, right? And then they'll walk away and you ask a question and it leaves you kind of stunned for a moment where you're like, wait a minute, what'd they say? And if you go back and you unpack it, like if you can see it on paper, like we're looking at this answer now, if he threw that answer at somebody and then walked away, that person would be left kind of going, wait, what did I miss here? Okay, I guess it's ready to go. I guess he said it's good. But when you read this answer out, you can see he says absolutely nothing. There's nothing to justify that $70 price tag. Not for a live service game. And these companies can't keep double dipping like that. They're going to fail. Concord, another example of that. Following the game's release, Tom Henderson, an insider gamer, reported the game currently has around 850,000 players total at the time of writing, which includes those who have opted to play the game with the 8-hour free trial provided by Ubisoft. In the same report, Henderson detailed that Ubisoft spent around $200 million on the game and doesn't expect to make it back. That's a far cry from $850 million. And if they're not expecting to make $200 million back, then holy cow, what kind of loss did they take? Yeah, look at these ships here. I mean, you know, it's an interesting design, right? That's probably custom right there. A skin for your cat that you have on board the ship, whatever. I'm sure this is a customized piece here that you can buy. You know, the look of this ship and the paint and all that. It's probably all custom stuff that you can buy in the shop. You know, I'm sure there's stuff you can win and earn and all that, but the coolest stuff is always locked behind cash when they have stores like that. And that's just the way it is. The game was released to Steam on August 22nd, 2024, and only hit a peak concurrent player count of 2,615 players. Since then, the game has seen a massive fall off. The most recent 24-hour peak was 412. That's a decline of nearly 85%. Yeah, losing 85% of your player base in a month is terrible. I don't know what it went for on Steam when they released it on there, but that's not good. I mean, look at that. 304 players, 412 in peak, 2,600. Yeah, that's bad. Ubisoft's failing huge, man. They need... It's going to take... You got to chop the head off of this monster to allow it to grow. Yves Guillemot has got to go, man. I've been saying that for a while, and I'll keep saying it. Otherwise, they're just going to keep doing trash like this, and, you know, he's going to try to justify it. I mean, you can't justify garbage. We see through you when you do that. You know, when somebody tells you, no, it's good, and you can see it's trash, and you can tell them why it's trash, well, they lose all respect for that company. And Ubisoft's probably one of the biggest, most hated companies out there in gaming right now. And it's terrible, you know, absolutely terrible. It's estimated that the game sold between 23,600 and 34,100 copies. 23,600 and 34,100 copies, I guess, on Steam. For comparison, that is around the estimates for Firewalk Studios' Concord. Concord had estimated Steam sales between 20,800 and 25,700. Wow. What do you make of this rumor that Ubisoft spent between 650 and 850 million on Skull and Bones? I gotta tell you, man, 10 years is a long time. You can dump a lot of money into something a long time, especially if they've had to rebuild it several times and take it back to formula, basically, and say, you know what? Throw all that out, all that work, 3 years worth of work, and let's start over. Yeah, that's a possibility, I reckon. It's just sad. It's sad to see that, you know. What a waste of money, what a waste of time and resources. Imagine what we could have had for $850 million. We could have had several awesome games for $850 million and 10 years of work. We could have had classics, fantastic games. Instead, we got Skull and Bones, a live service fail. Anyways, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell for notifications. Were you looking forward to Skull and Bones? Did you buy it and play it? I know one of my guys in my tribe plays it a little bit, and he enjoys it, you know. I don't know how much, though. You know, is it something that... I don't know. It just felt like, had it reached its potential, this could have been a daily play for a long time, and it could have been a lot of fun. Like Ark is for us, you know, but whatever. It is what it is. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.